Well, you mentioned divorce, which I want to talk to you a lot about. Like I'm sure a lot of your students and readers, I came across your book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, after I had a 2020 divorce. So I'm navigating that road. And like a lot of people, it was really mind blowing and eye opening to read something that, 43 years I never really could articulate like you did. And why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about how you came to write No More Mr. Nice Guy, what it's about, and give us an inside look at that.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, the book itself really came out of the context of my second marriage. People sometimes say, well, Robert, you're a marriage and family therapist. I had a PhD in marriage and family therapy at 29. But it really taught me nothing about how to do marriage. So I've often said I've bumbled my way through every relationship I've had, which is what most of us do. And that's how I came to write a book. And that's actually where my best teachings come from, is what I've bumbled my way through, what I didn't get perfectly, what I didn't get till I'd kind of made the same mistakes a few times over. So I was in my second marriage, and thinking, I'm a nice guy. I treat this woman well. I'm better than her ex. I'm raising her kids. I give her everything she wants. I try to make her happy. And it seemed like she was never happy, and was always finding fault in me. And as a typical nice guy, resentment built up. I thought I was doing everything right, and she didn't appreciate me and wasn't particularly sexually available like she'd been before we got married. And resentments built up, and resentments for nice guys often come out in one of two ways. One is something called passive aggressiveness. For those of your listeners who can't see me, I'm kind of looping my hand around, kind of like, it's kind of, a stab in the back kind of way of expressing resentment or anger. And the other way that nice guys tend to express their built-up resentment is through what my second wife called victim pukes. I did a few of those where, you store up all this stuff for a few months at a time, and finally, some straw breaks the camel's back, and you just let it all come puking out, and it's not very nice and not very pretty. And my then second wife, about 3 years into the marriage, said, I can't take any more of your passive aggressiveness. Everybody thinks you're such a nice guy, but you're not so nice to me. You got to go get help. If you don't go get help, I'm leaving. And I loved her, and I wanted to, try to keep my marriage together. So I went and got help, and I went thinking, I got to find out why me being such a nice guy doesn't make her appreciate me more and like me more and treat me better. And luckily, I fell into some good situations. One was a 12-step group. I joined a 12-step group for sex addicts because my wife kept saying, you're a sex addict, you're a sex addict. I quickly found out I wasn't a sex addict, but that group was a great place because for the first time in my life, I started just revealing me. Started revealing what's called toxic shame. Everything I'd hidden from the world in my relationships. I grew up in a very fundamental Christian church, a critical father. So I learned to hide everything, just keep it under wraps. And so that was really powerful to go to this 12-step group and just start sharing everything about me that, I'd never felt comfortable sharing, and it felt liberating. It was, I highly recommend it. In fact, it's the number one thing I tell nice guys to do in No More Mr. Nice Guy. Go find safe people and start revealing yourself, to let go of the toxic shame that says I'm not okay just as I am, and get more accurate feedback. No, you're human. You make mistakes. You have a dark side. You're perfectly imperfect. You're okay. Move on. Work on your strengths. Don't hide all this stuff. So that was really powerful.